Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV, and the Southwest TV Translator Association underwrites the news show.
If you have a news topic or tips you'd like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 677-4119.
Today's show is live on Monday at noon and rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. and again re-aired on Thursday at noon, 3 and 6.
Coming up, mine waste for Silverton roads, BLM grazing permits, and more.
And also the weather, sheriff's roundup, and area happenings. Today is September 25th, 2017, and now the news at noon. Reported in the Cortez Journal, the same Environmental Protection Agency crew that caused the Gold King mine spill is again catching flack for using potentially toxic material from a mined waste pile to improve a road north of Silverton. About 2 weeks ago, local residents started to notice that a portion of County Road 53, a remote dirt road that travels through the San Juan Mountains, was resurfaced and widened with a white yellowish material. After further investigation, it came to light that the road was covered with mined waste rock taken from the base of the Mogul Mine, one of the largest culprits of degrading water quality in the Animas River watershed. The Mogul Mine waste pile is such a large contributor of toxic metals that it was included on the Animas River Stakeholders Group list of 34 mines, waste piles, and 33 leaking mines that account for 90% of metal loading in the entire basin. That the EPA contracted crew, Environmental Restoration LLC, used the waste rock for road improvements has caused a backlash towards an agency that is tasked with improving water quality in the watershed. They used waste rock that was not treated or processed or modified, and that's a concern for us, said San Juan County Commissioner Pete McKay. We have some wetlands and fens down there. Residents are also outraged that the EPA proceeded on the road improvement project without San Juan County's permission or even notification before beginning work. For almost 20 years, the small mountain community of about 600 people had opposed federal intervention on the cleanup of the area's widespread pollution because of a legacy of hard rock mining, mostly in the late 1800s and early 1900s. The conversation changed in August of 2015 when the EPA's contracted crew breached the portal of the Gold King mine, releasing 3 million gallons of mined wastewater down the Animas River. At that time, Silverton was lured to a Superfund listing with the promise of a seat at the table. They didn't ask the county. Silverton Town trustee Pete Meisel said of the road project, and the county is upset about it. The EPA works in 2 divisions at the Bonita Peak Mining District Superfund site with a remedial crew and a removal crew. It was determined earlier this year that a gauge needed to be installed at the Mogul Mine to measure the water pressure behind the mine's bulkhead. The EPA also wanted to install a gate at the entrance of the mine to keep people out. To do so, the EPA needed to bring heavy equipment up to the difficult-to-access site, which required the road improvements, a task that fell to the direction of the Environmental Restoration Company, the removal crew. Environmental Restoration apparently used the potentially toxic material without any sort of prior notification or approval. Thomas said now that the work on Mogul Mine is complete, the mined waste rock used on the road will be removed and put back at the dump site. The road will be returned to its original condition. To avoid any similar conflicts in the future, the EPA intends to improve how it will share information about its projects to San Juan County.
According to the Cortez Journal, a Durango man suspected of stabbing 2 men at a homeless camp west of Durango city limits was charged Friday with 3 counts of assault. Hernando Tsosi, age 39, is being held at the La Plata County Jail without bail. In addition to stabbing 2 men, Tsosi is suspected of hitting his former girlfriend. As a result, he is charged with misdemeanor assault, an act of domestic violence. The series of events started late August 27th when Tsosi became upset with his ex-girlfriend because she was hanging out with 2 other men around her campsite, according to an arrest affidavit. The woman and 2 men were drinking and talking near her tent. Tsosi emerged from the tent and attacked them, including hitting the woman in the head and choking her, according to the affidavit. The woman said she didn't know Tsosi was inside her tent. They had broken up 2 months prior, according to the affidavit. Things got calm and they all went to sleep for about an hour when Tsosi returned and stabbed one of the men in the back of the left thigh with a knife. The man fled while trying to defend himself. The other man suffered a deep slash to his right palm and scrapes to his face. During the melee, Tsosi kicked and hit his ex-girlfriend in the face. He also sat on her while hitting her. He finally picked up a beer, took a drink, and poured it over the woman and the remaining man. The woman convinced Sosi to allow the man to leave, which he did. He went to another campsite to borrow a cell phone and call police. Sosi pleaded guilty in July to invasion of privacy for sexual gratification for peeping into the woman's bathroom at the Durango Welcome Center. He was free on bail while awaiting sentencing, which was set for September 19th. The sentencing was postponed as a result of his new charges.
The Durango Herald reported archaeologists, professors, and other researchers on Friday called for more protections of an expansive area surrounding Chaco Cultural National Historical Park, saying increased oil and gas development has the potential to destroy parts of the landscape that could provide a better understanding of the ancient civilization that once inhabited the region. In their report, the scientists point to new technology that has uncovered previously indiscernible sections of roads that connect sites throughout northwestern New Mexico to the heart of Chaco Park. They say they have only begun using new satellite and laser imaging tools to document the area and that more discoveries are possible. Aside from actual archaeological sites that include stone structures and pottery shards, the scientists say research also has provided insight into the importance of the landscape to whatever activities were drawing people to Chaco centuries ago. They noted less tangible features like unobstructed views to distant buttes or mountain peaks. While some of the mysteries surrounding Chaco are still debated in academic circles, there's agreement that the massive stone structures, kivas, and other features that dot the landscape offered something of a religious or ritualistic experience for the ancestors of today's Native American pueblos. Many of the structures are aligned with celestial events, such as the summer solstice. Anna Sofar, president of the nonprofit Solstice Project, said people who don't understand Chaco see it as a sort of a high desert wasteland that can offer only oil, gas, coal, and uranium. The report comes as federal officials revamp a management plan that will guide development as more companies look to tap shale deposits in the San Juan Basin, already one of the nation's largest natural gas fields. A World Heritage Site, Chaco, and its outlying archaeological remnants have become the focus of the fight over expanded drilling. Environmentalists have long complained about pollution from fossil fuel extraction and coal-fired power plants in the region, and now tribal leaders have joined in with concerns about the potential effects on cultural resources. They have asked for the federal government to make permanent a 10-mile buffer zone around Chaco Park. Industry officials say developers can operate in a way that protects significant sites. Energy experts say no one in the industry disputes the significance of Chaco or the strong desire to protect the area's cultural resources for future generations, and that regulations already in place require reviews to ensure important areas are not disrupted. The archaeologists argued Friday that existing regulations do a good job of protecting physical sites, but there's no consideration of less tangible aspects, like those found at a site about 15 miles north of the park that includes 2 great houses and vantage points of Chaco's Great North Road. Though educators agree the Bureau of Land Management followed the letter of the law in protecting the site, they also allowed for 12 pump jacks to be installed within view of the great houses. The nearest one is less than a mile away, and others can be seen glinting in the distance. Archaeologists said we need to be cognizant of things like viewscapes and soundscapes to figure out ways to study and record them and provide that information to land managers. Such features are important for understanding a complex like Chaco. Additional concerns were also raised about light pollution from oil and gas operations. Chaco was the site of the first National Park Observatory, and it has been recognized for its dark skies.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, an Ignacio man suspected of taking a video up the skirt of a woman at Walmart in Durango was charged Friday with invasion of privacy for sexual gratification and sexual exploitation of a child. Jamie Flores Carbajal, who is free on bail, worked earlier this year as a janitor with Ignacio School District. A secretary for the school district confirmed Friday that Flores Carbajal is still employed with the district, but directed further questions to Superintendent Rocco Fuchetto, who did not return phone calls. In May, Fuchetto said Flores Carbajal was placed on leave. Flores Carbajal is suspected of standing next to a woman in the greeting card section at Walmart with a cell phone in his hand, positioned below the woman's skirt, according to an arrest affidavit. The woman could see the phone was recording in video mode, she told police. The man left the store in a hurry and sped away in a newer model white or silver Ford F-150 with darkly tinted windows. The truck had a sunroof and a sticker in the rear window. Police distributed images of the suspect and the vehicle in an effort to identify him. An anonymous tipster identified the suspect as Flores Carbajal. Detectives went to his house and found a truck matching the description. He was stopped just outside Ignacio town limits. During the stop, detectives asked Flores Carbajal if he knew why he was being arrested, and he made a reference to a newspaper article, according to the affidavit. Flores Carbajal is also charged with sexual exploitation of a child. It is uncertain why he faces the charge. Nothing in the affidavit discusses a child victim. Law enforcement and prosecutors sometimes file additional charges if they discover new offenses while investigating evidence. It is possible investigators found something having to do with child exploitation. District Attorney Christian Champagne declined to comment about the new charge.
From the Durango Herald, Bonnie Zuela was 65 years old when she learned how to shoot a handgun. While the rest of her family are avid skiers, Zuela prefers to spend her time at the shooting range. She traveled from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to attend Babes with Bullets, a ladies-only firearms training camp taught by other women. This is Zuela's second time participating in a Babes with Bullets camp. It is empowering, and too many people have the wrong impression that we are out here shooting willy-nilly, Zuela said. This is women building each other up. It's a male-dominated sport, and it can be intimidating for a woman to just walk into a gun range. Zuela said she believes every woman can benefit from learning to shoot in a safe and supportive environment. The three-day program was held September 22nd through the 24th at the private Barnes Ranch near Red Mesa. The camp was led by instructors Tracy and Lanny Barnes, twin sister Olympic biathletes who competed in Sochi, Turin, and Vancouver, and Lisa Munson, a national and world champion in shooting sports. Babes with Bullets, founded in 2004, has taught over 5,300 women how to shoot. Camp director Deb Fern said the program focuses heavily on safety, and it shows women how to shoot a variety of handguns as well as how to work from the holster and shoot on the move. Fern estimates that over 80% of the women at Babes with Bullets camps are novices. They start by shooting a .22 caliber handgun before switching to a more powerful 9mm pistol. While there are plenty of women's shooting groups across the country that meet to practice, Babes with Bullets is the only all-female traveling firearms academy in the country. Zuela said she never intended for Babes with Bullets to grow so large. 10 camps are offered every year across the country, including 3 gun camps that train students in rifle, shotgun, and handgun. For more details, visit their online website at babeswithbullets.com.
According to the Cortez Journal, a former employee of the Medicine Man in Cortez was sentenced Thursday in district court for misdemeanor theft from the marijuana dispensary. Timber Higgins was sentenced to 5 days of electronic home monitoring and 24 months of probation by District Court Judge Doug Walker. She was also ordered to pay about $7,000 in restitution to the business and incurred $1,500 in court and probation costs. Higgins had been charged with Class 5 felony theft, but she pleaded guilty to Class 1 misdemeanor theft as part of a plea bargain. Sheila Castor, another former employee of Medicine Man, has also been charged with a Class 5 felony theft, and her case is pending, court officials said. In January, Medicine Man owners Gilbert and Sherry Garcia reported to Cortez police they suspected the two were using military discounts to steal from the store. According to police records, Garcia said that she and other employees noticed an increase of purchases rung up as 15% military discounts. When they looked more closely at the records, they began to suspect that the two were ringing up regular purchases at discount prices and pocketing the difference. After an investigation, the Cortez police estimated that $12,000 had been stolen. Higgins wept as she addressed the court during her sentencing hearing, stating, "I apologize to the Garcias and my family for my bad decisions." Sherry Garcia said she was surprised and hurt by the theft, especially from someone she knew for years. The company changed the procedures of giving discounts to customers, she said. They are now overseen and implemented by the manager. And now here's our weather report.
The fine folks in the National Weather Service offices in Grand Junction tell us that cool and dry is the order for Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday midnight and into Wednesday should see the arrival of moisture left from decaying tropical storms that's been pooling in Mexico. And the desert southwest and Four Corners region should see good moisture for the remainder of the work week. Snow levels are expected to be at or above 10,000 foot this time, and we'll watch to see if that changes by Wednesday's broadcast. The weekend should see a drying out period begin at some point. The eastern U.S. will continue to have warmer temperatures through midweek. Some locations could achieve record high temperatures with readings breaking the 90-degree mark. A strong, slow-moving cold front with multiple waves of low pressure developing along it will span from the upper Great Lakes to Texas. Episodes of heavy rainfall may lead to some flash flooding issues from Texas to the upper Midwest. The greatest threat of flooding is expected across western Texas, with amounts possibly in excess of 5 inches between now and Wednesday night. Some severe thunderstorms will also be possible. Hurricane Maria is forecast to track near parts of the East Coast on Tuesday night and into Wednesday. Current indications suggest that the storm may continue or may come within 200 miles of North Carolina's Outer Banks before heading out to sea on Thursday. It will be the front approaching from the west that causes the eastward turn for the hurricane later in the week. In the meantime, expect rough surf, high seas for the southeast and mid-Atlantic coasts, along with increasing cloudiness and gusty winds. Today's high should be 58 and the rest of the week running between 66 and 61 degrees. Lows will be from 40 to 45 degrees, and Tuesday midnight on through Friday we'll see showers and thunderstorms increase with a possible break Friday morning. Then the last gasps of the parting system in the afternoon. Winds should run 5 to 10 miles per hour throughout the week, and rains below 10,000 foot are expected. Now back to the news.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, a Bayfield woman who broke into 2 buildings both occupied by law enforcement officers was sentenced Friday to 18 months of probation. Susan Murphy Snively experienced a mental breakdown possibly brought on by the use of drugs earlier this year in Durango, said her public defender Annie Woods. She has since entered an inpatient treatment center in South Carolina to address her addiction, Woods said. Murphy Snively, age 41, appeared Friday in 6th Judicial District Court, well-dressed and in better condition than she did at the time of her arrest, a prosecutor and defense lawyer agreed. Murphy Snively was arrested twice in 4 months for breaking into buildings occupied by off-duty police officers. The first was August 29, 2016 in the Three Springs subdivision, where a Durango police sergeant found her rummaging through his garage. The sergeant identified himself as a police officer, showed Murphy Snively his badge, and she ran. She ran through a neighbor's house and out the back door before being caught in a parking lot near Mercy Regional Medical Center. While on bail, Murphy Snively broke into a laundry room on Christmas Day at a motel in the 3400 block of Main Avenue. A residence is attached to the motel, and she broke into the residential part of the building, according to an arrest affidavit. An off-duty La Plata County Sheriff's deputy caught her in the laundry room, and again Murphy Snively ran but was caught a short distance away. Murphy Snively said Friday she didn't know the laundry room was adjacent to a residential dwelling, and it was never her intention to alarm anyone. She plans to find a job and live in Bayfield.
Last week's CO2 average is in at 403.06, and week before last it was 403.70, 1 year ago 401.08, and 10 years ago 380.81. Though you might not think of ants as formidable bodyguards, some do an impressive job protecting plants from enemies. Scientists at the University of Toronto have determined what makes some better bodyguards than others. The relationship between the Amazon rainforest plant Cordia nodosa in Peru and the Amazonian ant Allomeris octoarticulatus, they found a degree to which the ants express 2 genes significantly impacts the amount of protection they provide to their hosts. The ant-plant relationship is an example of a phenomenon known in nature as mutualism. 2 seemingly disparate species interact in a manner that's mutually beneficial for both. Examples are pollination and seed dispersal. Megan Fredrickson, associate professor in the Department of Ecology at and evolutionary biology at the University of Toronto and senior author of a new study published in Proceedings of the Royal Society Biology, says around 400 species of tropical plants have specialized structures called demascia to house ant colonies that defend them mainly against herbivorous insects. Tropical trees are often completely covered with ants. The plant supplied is attacked by grasshoppers, beetles, and caterpillars, and although these insects are small, they can do a lot of damage to trees. Since ants eat a lot of insects and other arthropods, they reduce the density of such herbivores on the trees. Two genes, Valomeris octoarticulatus, that regulate foraging behavior were manipulated. They found that when the two were activated, more workers were recruited to attack herbivores, resulting in less damage to the trees. Gene expression in ant workers is also correlated with whether an ant colony discovered a grasshopper and how much damage was inflicted on leaves. Perhaps one day you'll be able to order up ants like we now do ladybugs for aphid control to deal with a grasshopper plague. I'd like to know I could still pick my peaches and my tomatoes without their involvement. Color me not quite ready for that one unless we can quadruple make sure that they won't get into the house or spoil the picnic.
According to the Cortez Journal, Southwest Open School Director Charlotte Wolf announced Wednesday that SWOS is off the accreditation accountability clock after an overall improvement in state criteria for alternative education campuses. The school increased its score by about 8 percentage points, up from 42.81% in 2016 to 50.61% in 2017. SWOS spent 1 year on the clock after a dip in test scores last year. SWOS is designated as an alternative education campus and takes different tests than other Montezuma Cortez RE1 schools. SWOS test scores did not meet NWEA expectations in language usage and math, but approached expectations in reading. The school is rated in 4 areas: academic achievement, academic growth, student engagement, and post-secondary and workforce readiness. In each of the 4 areas, performance is rated on 4 levels from highest to lowest: exceeds expectations, meets expectations, approaching expectations, and does not meet expectations. Wolf said the school took a strategic approach to raise the test scores. SWS's biggest improvement was in academic growth, where it improved to meets expectations from a 2016 rating of approaching expectations. SWS hopes to improve its score for post-secondary and workforce readiness, which was the only category in which the school did not meet or approach expectations.
From the Cortez Journal, the Bureau of Land Management announced an initiative on Friday to provide grazing permit holders new flexibility in livestock management and protect public lands. The effort emphasizes the White House's goal of promoting shared conservation stewardship of public lands while supporting uses such as grazing. Farmers and ranchers know the wildlife and the land they work better than anyone, Department of the Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke said in the news release. He continued, "I applaud the team at BLM for coming up with this innovative program." Under the demonstration program, the BLM will work with grazing permittees and other stakeholders in identifying 6 to 12 grazing authorizations in its first year. The new authorizations will emphasize ecological outcomes, allowing livestock managers to make adjustments in response to conditions such as drought and fire. This effort is intended to develop and determine the effectiveness of these permits to manage livestock grazing on all public lands. The BLM administers nearly 18,000 permits and leases held by ranchers who graze their livestock on more than 21,000 allotments. Livestock grazing occurs on 155 million acres of public lands. The BLM will solicit project proposals through its state offices with a deadline of October 13th.
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of September 18th through the 24th. A black and white Great Pyrenees dog was reported missing. If found, please call the Sheriff's Office. A deputy assisted Colorado State Patrol on a non-injury car versus deer accident. A deputy responded to a non-injury deer accident. Colorado State Patrol was advised of the accident. While transporting a patient, the Dove Creek Volunteer Ambulance Service reported a disabled vehicle on Highway 491. Not long after the first report, they followed with a report of an injured deer obstructing traffic in the middle of the highway. Several calls from passing motorists followed the initial report to state the animal was injured but alive. A member of Dove Creek Fire Department remained on scene to provide some warning to motorists of the hazard. A deputy responded to both scenes while awaiting Colorado State Patrol trooper response. The injured doe needed to be put down, and afterward a member of the roadkill list was contacted to retrieve the meat. 2 smoke alarms were triggered at the new road and bridge building. Fire personnel were paged and responded. It was a false alarm due to work being done on the building. An out-of-state agency requested assistance, reaching a member of a hunting party in the Groundhog area to deliver an emergency message. Dispatch was able to contact a neighboring outfitter, and they successfully made personal contact with the party to ask for them to contact the sheriff's office for more details. That's it for today's roundup. Stay tuned tomorrow for continuing updates.
In today's High Canyon Country Happenings, to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Lowry Pueblo's status as a National Historic Landmark, a presentation and tours are planned for Saturday, October 7th. The free anniversary celebration begins at the Anasazi Heritage Center, where BLM archaeologist Vince McMillan will present on the variety of work completed at Lowry Pueblo, including LIDAR imaging, a film produced in conjunction with the nonprofit SciArc, Historic American Buildings Survey, Historic American Engineering record documentation, and visual landscape documentation. In addition to the presentation, the BLM staff and volunteers will provide guided tours of Escalante Pueblo and the Wetherill family exhibit at the Anasazi Heritage Center. Activities for children ages 8 and older will be available from Southwest Colorado Canyons Alliance and Crow Canyon Archaeological Center. A parent should accompany children. After lunch on your own, 2 shuttles provided by CCAC depart the Anasazi Heritage Center at 12:30 and 1:30 p.m. for Lowry Pueblo for interactive tours, including throwing spears with atlatls for the kids. The shuttles will return to AHC at about 2:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. For more details, visit swcocanyons.org. And if you hadn't figured this out, cultural sites in Southwest Colorado are an economic asset for local communities. This now officially, according to a new report released by Crow Canyon Archaeological Center. The study, The Economic Contributions of Cultural Resources in Southwest Colorado, covered the Region 9 Economic Development District of Southwest Colorado, which includes Archuleta, Dolores, La Plata, Montezuma, and San Juan counties. The report gathered data from cultural sites in the Region 9 district, including Canyons of the Ancients National Monument, Crow Canyon Archaeological Center, Anasazi Heritage Center, Hovenweep National Monument, Mesa Verde National Park, Ute Mountain Tribal Park, and Yucca House National Monument in Montezuma County, Southern Ute Cultural Center and Museum in La Plata County, and Chimney Rock National Monument in Archuleta County. Results showed that the cultural sites generated 1,340 jobs and nearly $113.6 million in economic output during 2016. And over in Utah, Small Food Business and Home Producer Conference is being held September 29th, Friday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Arts and Events Center at the Utah State University Eastern Blanding campus. If you are a food entrepreneur who wants to sell your homemade products or already is in business but needs help with marketing, licensing, or labeling, or others, they say this event is for you, featuring cottage food basics. Cottage foods are non-hazardous food products people produce in their homes and sell to consumers. The product may include, but not limited to, cookies, jams, cakes, dried spices, blends, chocolates, and other foods made in a commercial kitchen like salad dressing, sauces, salsas, and more. Many people don't know there is licensing involved in making products out of the home, and this is not a get-rich-quick industry. Cottage food operations involve research, work, commitment, and sacrifices. As only 10% of cottage food operators remain in business past the 5-year mark, they want you to get a good start in business and know the importance of learning about the cottage food industry before you take the leap. Topics covered include how to become licensed in Utah as a cottage food producer, labeling 101, pricing guidelines, small food business basics, marketing resources, and more. For information, contact Bailey Hedgeland at 435-459-9700. All of the happenings are posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the YouTube replays, weather, and original stories and local posts. To share your event or information, contact us, dcbnnews@gmail.com, or call us at the station at 677-4119, and we'll be sure to get your news on air.
Thanks for tuning in. News at Noon airs live at noon Monday through Wednesday, and then it is rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m., and again re-aired Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the same order at noon, 3, and 6.
And be sure to check us out on Facebook. It's DCTV News at Noon. Please like us there and share it with a friend.
For Kendra Cook, Jerry Tope, and everyone at DCTV with the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.